Hey, what's going on everybody? It's ETAPRIME back here again. Today I'm going to show you how to easily add an SSD to your PS5. There's basically only three things you're going to need. Obviously, first up, you'll need a PS5. Next up, you'll need a Phillips head screwdriver, and finally, a decent SSD. And Sony recommends using an SSD with read speeds up to 5,500 megabytes per second. And most M.2 SSD manufacturers nowadays will have it listed as PS5 compatible. And I would highly recommend picking one up that does come with a heatsink because these little M.2 SSDs can get quite hot. And that's one of the main reasons I chose the Auros Gen4 7000S. This is a 1TB model, but you can go larger if you want to. And when it comes to the internal storage of the PS5, we're only really working with around 660 gigabytes free, and that can get filled up really fast, especially with the newer games that are coming out that are 80 to 90 and even over 100 gigs. So the SSD I have here is compatible with the PS5. You can check out the manufacturer's website. It's got a heatsink already installed on it, ready to go, and overall this should be a pretty snappy little drive for your PS5. Installation is a breeze, and I'm going to walk you through that, plus I'm going to show you how to format it, set it up to add your new games to the SSD, and also transfer your existing games that are on the internal storage to the new drive we're installing. Alright, so first things first, like I mentioned, obviously you'll need a PS5. I've got a Phillips head screwdriver and my new SSD. We will need to slide one of the side panels off of the PS5 to gain access to that M.2 slot, and it's really easy to do. So if you have a disk-based system, make sure your disk drive is facing upwards. This is the side that we need to take off, and it's going to slide down. So there are clips in here, and I've seen some people struggle with this, but it's really easy to do. So over in the top right-hand corner, we're just going to lift up a bit and slide it down. You can see we've got the clips here, and we also have these two little circle tabs, and that's why we need to kind of pry up on that edge just to get those unlocked, and it'll slide right off very easily. Once we have the side panel off, we need to remove the SSD door right here with one Phillips head screw. So we'll go ahead and get this off. Just a little metal door here to cover that up. And with the door removed, we have access to our M.2 slot. So from here, there are a few different options that we can use for SSDs. This basically supports most of the sizes out there. It'll do a 110mm, 80mm, 60mm, 42mm, and a 30mm, but most of the time you're probably going to pick up an 80mm. And right here at the very end, here's our M.2 slot. There is a little notch here, and there's also going to be a notch on your drive, so you need to line this up correctly. You really can't get it wrong. It's only going to fit in one way. So the first thing I want to do is remove the included support. And in this unit here, I'm not sure if it's the same with everyone. It's in the 110 slot, but we're going with an 80mm drive, so I do need to move this down. We have that screw to secure the M.2 slot. And right underneath this, we have a little support that needs to be moved to the correct location. So since I'm using an 80mm drive, I want to move this support over to the 80mm hole. It's going to fit right in there, and we'll use the included screw to secure our SSD inside of the console. So we'll go ahead and place this in the correct location. It's actually really nice because it's labeled for you. It's going to fit right down. We'll go ahead and grab that M.2 SSD, and it's going to slot right in the M.2 slot. There's a little notch here on the SSD, and that's going to line right up. So we'll go ahead and get it right in there. The little notch is going to go right in place. We're going to make sure we get a little snap, and that's it. We've got it installed. Now we're going to secure it with that screw. And with this, you don't need to over torque this. Just make sure it's snug. It's not going to go anywhere. So if you're using a drive where the manufacturer hasn't stated that it works with the PS5, just make sure your clearance is there, that we can fit this cover back on. I mean, to tell you the truth, it would work without the cover, but it's nice to have it on here. And I know for sure that this 7000S fits in here really nicely. We'll go ahead and screw this back down. And we can place the side panel back on. So it's just going to slide right up, lock into place. And we're good to go. We now have a new drive installed in our PS5, but there's a couple little things you need to do inside of the operating system. So I'm going to go ahead and start this up. Alright, so the first time you boot your PS5 up with the new drive installed, you're going to get a screen that looks like this. We do want to format the M.2 SSD, so we're going to head over to Format. It's only going to take a sec with a faster drive. It's also going to give us a quick read speed test, and we're at 5,818 megabytes per second. So we're over that 5,500 mark, and this should definitely work out really well for our games on the PS5. So there's one more thing we need to do with this SSD, so I'm going to get into my main menu. I'm going to head over to Settings, find Storage, and from here, at the very bottom, we can actually change the installation location, and I'm going to set mine to my SSD. So from here, we're going to put my PS5 games and apps on the M.2 SSD. Same thing with my PS4 games. You can swap this around if you'd like to, but now anytime we install a new game, it's going to go to that M.2 SSD. But we can also go ahead and transfer everything that's on our internal storage to the SSD from this menu here. So we'll just select all. That's going to be all of the games I have on the internal PS5 storage. And I can choose Move. It's also going to tell me on the right hand side how much storage is going to be left on that SSD and my console. Now this could take a little while depending on how much data you're moving. But once this is finished up, you're done with the new SSD install on your PS5. It's actually really simple to do, and in my opinion, it's totally worth it to add that extra storage. I'm actually really glad that Sony allows this with the PS5. But that's it for this one. If you're interested in picking up that same Auros 7000S SSD, I'll leave a link for that in the description. And like always, thanks for watching.